of October. What a night, what a day for the ninjas. Shows they do some dangerous work. Looks like they got caught in the castle. I think it's good. Teach them a lesson. They'll come back, but we'll get into that. And first, also thanks for all the feedback on the length. Try and accommodate it all. Alright, let's get into it. So, our market, just trading at the tops here. I'd probably say bias is to the upside. So CBA, as I said yesterday, is probably a good addition to Oz Super Fund. Had pretty good records there on the CBA. So the S&P 500. So we're waiting for this to break new highs. So probably looks more like it. All right, onto the bad fella, the big boy, gold. So it was, as we said, so it had made its measured move from this flagpole to there. Like if you look at a monthly chart, like it's it needed a pullback. I'm sort of happy because what it does is allow a bottom to form. It's like you got to just get rid of the excess fat and trim up. So this is a daily candle. So you can see we came down to the 4,000 mark. I mean, also, like the reason we're investing in gold is because central banks are buying it. It's real money. So if you start hearing central banks are selling gold, then yeah, worry. But I think that was healthy. We said we came down to the 20-day moving average. So from a short term, like if you're trading the thing, that's technically a good entry point, just above resistance. I don't think we're going to shoot out these highs anytime soon. Maybe a bit of an up and then a down and then have a go again. But I think a pause would be nice. Means the gold miners can get revalued, knowing gold's sitting at 4,000, etc., etc. And the weekly, we still are a long way from the 20-week moving average. Okay, and I didn't have many panic attack messages, so you're obviously getting used to it. All right. Now another sort of key stat here, interesting one. This is the gold over the S&P 500. So you can see we're forming a lovely rounded bottom, which will break to the upside at some stage, which means the gold will outperform the S&P 500. So you can see we came up. We've had a few goes. So again, let gold consolidate, get his breath back, and then have a crack. Now that could be the S&P 500 falling and gold going up, or both going up and gold going up faster. Okay, so on to the first ninja, so miners. I'll go to a weekly chart. I mean, yeah, it was a lot. So if you're buying down here, then you're not really worried. But yeah, I know people who you just don't know. Anyway, yeah, all this is going to be it's healthy, relax, don't stress. So we haven't. We've got to a daily chart. So you can see we came back. This is a support area here. So, and they don't usually. Well, you could technically say we filled that gap there. So if we look at Newmont, so that's the biggest gold miner. They report on Thursday. Well, that's the other thing too, is you're not buying fluff. These guys are actually printing money. So there's something backing it up. But there's that shooting star that always tends to win the battle. So anyway, like it's fine. GDXJ, again, so it's come back to this support area on the daily. So you can see we're at. So we're not panicking yet. It is ugly. It's hard. I know. Hurts me too. Okay, so this is another one. So the gold miners over the gold price. So a bit like the S&P 500. The gold miners are forming a bottom against the gold price. So while I expect gold at some stage to outperform the S&P 500, I expect the miners to outperform gold. So yeah, you get the picture. We're just having a pullback. So if you haven't bought, it's getting. Well, that's the thing. I say with dollar cost averaging, I'd rather your dollar cost into the bank, and then when things like this occur, you go and buy. But in the long run, it probably doesn't matter. But that's all right. So I'll just have a look at one gold stock. So Northern Star. So again, he's come back to resistance. You know, we're not at panic stages yet. Okay, so I won't go through all the gold stocks. That was a lesson of the feedback too, but also we just got to wait for a bottom before we can start trying to pick bottoms. Copper. So the copper price is still steady. So the wire ETF, your global copper producers. So they got, not many people were saved. So well, technically they look like they could probably come down a bit more. Because we are a long way. But just, if you're holding, you just hang on. So CopJ, so there's those shooting stars. Oh, so that's just sitting on the 20 DMA, which actually, if you see, I'll go through. Okay, so BHP, so didn't bother him. So he's one in the core super portfolio, so he didn't mind. AMI, that's another one that's held up rather well. A1M, so that's looking fine too for if you're buying. And 29M, so these are all producers, so it's broken up, come back testing support. So a bit of green, that would be a buy. Uranium, so uranium spot price on the weekly, so we're coming back down to support. As I've said, all these producers sell at a contract price, so the spot doesn't really matter. URANIUM, there's those pesky shooting stars. So on the daily, so yeah. So the one with this one is, if you look at the two big holdings, which is Kaza, they've just come down to this new sort of support area, and Kamiko is a similar thing. So that seems a bit oversold. But I think that, like, if you're not in it and you're looking for it, then ideally you don't buy like today. You wait for it to stop and then start getting some green shoots, if you haven't got any yet. URANJ, that pesky shooting star, so it's technically just coming back to support, which is same as Playdon. So Playdon's in the super fund, so again it's just sitting at this resistance level. I don't expect shooting up now. I think all we're going to get now is just some consolidation going on. Okay, so now we go to, okay, so the rare earth boys. So REMX is having a break. That's the weekly. On the daily, so I think, pullbacks to here. Again, wait for some green, then buy. So Linus, so there's one of those measured moves, the height here, add it to there. But we're not trading here. I'm just telling you that's what can happen. So that's fine. I mean, it's still in an uptrend, and it's healthy to have a pullback, even though we don't like them. I understand that. Okay, so next we go to the girlfriend. Okay, so again, well, let's, we put it in perspective. So it's a 3 monthly chart. So at all-time highs, the people in the London Bullion Bank still don't have the silver that they're selling. It's all paper-based. So technically, there's nothing wrong in gold. It's just following gold. So I'd like to see us get back up above $50. So that's the daily chart. So we're down to the 20. So, well, technically, it could come down to $47 and still be in an uptrend. How are we going on there? And just this, well, if this is a bottom, corrections usually occur in 3 waves. So you get your A, B, C. If it forms 5 waves, then that's not good news. So hopefully we're in a bottom around here, and this is just a healthy correction. And the same goes for ETP mag. Okay, you got smacked down to the 20 today. So well, again, just wait. If it's, well, here you go. If tomorrow's update, it's probably a good time to buy if you haven't got any. So I'll wait. So another shooting star got her. So she's again. She's popped up. She's had a look outside. She liked it. She needs to go back. She wants to put some more lipstick on to look better. No, seriously. So there's no way you could. There was a big gap. So anyway, you don't want to just hold on for the ride. So technically, it's still fine. It could come down a little bit. I think all we can expect now is some consolidation. Again, if you're lying back here, well, you're probably annoyed because we all lost 10% last night. This is a 5-10 year journey, and these things are going to happen. So all good. Again, if you haven't bought, just wait for it to find some sort of a bottom and then buy. If you've got some spare cash. Okay, next we've got a bit of manganese action. So manganese looks like it's putting in a bit of a bottom. There's our wedge. Looks like it's found a bottom. This JMS, it's not in Australian Super, but it's in the dividend stock, 6%. So that looks pretty nice if you're interested. In the mining services space, this Cube, they're in container management, bold road transport, so carrying all the stuff around, all the resources. They are in Australian Super, and that looks like it's ready to go. Okay, oil. So oil, you see here, oil's making a bit of a 1-2 triple bottom there. If we go to a daily chart, so there's the long-term declining channel. There's another bullish declining wedge if broken. So if it can get above 60, it's game on. But it's probably at a bottom. And if we look at natural gas on a weekly, okay, so we can see similar sort of chart patterny type thing. There's your longer term wedge, there's your short term one, break, test, the bottom, up, down, test, up. So, and there's some shooting stars there. So natural gas looks really bullish, and that flows through to our king, Woodside, Australian Super Core Portfolio Holding. I reckon that time to buy the fella, 7.2% div. There's your declining wedge within the bigger long-term one. Look at that, Fred Channel. Anyway, 7.2%. You can't complain about that. And another one, coal. So coal's done another one of these declining wedges, break, come back, find support, test, range trading maybe. But that flows through to NHC, which is in Australian Super. I think actually no, this one isn't a core in the portfolio, but it's one you'd add to because he's paying an 8.2% dividend. And there's that long-term bullish channel there. So NHC, one to look at. Okay, who's next? Oh yeah, tech. So I'm trying to speed things up so I can get through to tech, tech and healthcare. Okay, so what's looking good? Weebit. So they're in the sort of RAM space, high performance RAM. Can't say I'm an expert on technology, but it's got the rounded bottom breakthrough there, going through resistance, popping its head up. So that looks nice. Zip. Now the zips it's actually forming a really long-term bullish pattern there. There's your cup, your handle, breakthrough resistance. Coming back down, actually forming a lovely little megaphone here. It reported really well. I had a read actually this morning because I wondered what was going on, and everything was tickety-boo. So if we look at a daily chart, I think that'll be a good buying opportunity. Just wait for it to settle down and if it does come back here, you back up the truck, I'd say, but just wait for some form of bottoming action there, because there was nothing wrong in the report. PPS, premium. So they're in portfolio administration. So they have platforms, financial planning tools, to that industry I used to work in. But you can look at that 1, 2, very rounded bottom. That's what that gold to S&P 500 ratio will do. Anyway, that's breaking out, looking very nice. Okay, I know there's some people, and so Mr. EOS called that sell. That was a month or so ago. There's that pesky shooting star. It gets most people all the time. But is it? No. So this is doing. So there's your declining wedge. It's done the break. And if this comes back down here to $5 and then starts going green again, you'd have to have a go. So keep an eye on that. Drone. I guess they're hoping for some wars, these people. So there's the sell, there's the buy, there's the sell. So are we getting to a buy again? So it's at this, what used to be resistance. So probably similar thing, consolidation. So you probably want to see it break above what's that? 510, 515. Well, the longer it can stay above here, the better. Yeah, I know some people love this, but the difference, I'm just going to, I guess, be truthful. Gold stocks might look like this, but gold stocks are making money. The revenues on these guys, based on their market cap, is a bit stretched, if I have to say. All right, this is a new one, actually. So PWH, they're in the the cooling system business, advanced like for motorsport cars, engines, but I see they're getting into a bit of aerospace defence, so a bit EOS-ish type thing. Anyway, so there's your declining channel. So it broke, came back, had a test support here. So a break above there would be a good buy, I think. And then healthcare. Okay. All right, I'm running a little bit over time. Okay. So Mesoblast is setting up a nice pennant there. Bullish. There's your flagpole. There's your flag. So keep an eye on that. PAR. So developing treatments for chronic inflammatory viral diseases. Anyway, there's your declining wedge and break. They don't always come back and test, but usually they do. And there's its resistance there. So keep an eye on that. Somnomed. So they're in manufacture, commercialise appliances such as Somnodet mandibular advanced splint for treating sleep-related orders. That's the one. There's your rounded bottom with a break. There's your break and then retest. So that looks pretty good. EZZ. So they're in health and well-being products. So have a look anyway. There's your rounded bottom. Had a few goes. Anyway, that's poking its head up. Looks like it wants to have a go. And SPL, Star Pharma. So they're in targeted drug delivery systems for cancer treatments. Anyway, that was a lovely gap up there. So there's a bit of excitement by the looks of it there. So keep your eye on that. All right, that's a bit over target time. Sorry, we'll get there. All right then, thanks for that. See ya.